So where are we at with stimulus from Senate Leader Mitch McConnell? Rhett, everyone's been wondering what this guy is going to say. What is Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell going to do? We've heard from the White House. We've heard from Senate Democrats. We've heard from Senate Democrats. We've heard from House Democrats in the form of the HEROES Act. We've heard from different Republican senators who also want stimulus and say we should not take a vacation. Let's get additional stimulus. So where is Senator Mitch McConnell on all of this? Well, he spoke about this yesterday at when he was down in Kentucky. Would we see direct checks? Now, we've been waiting for this. Would we see direct checks? And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, in his Southern way, said, well, we'll do. So take a listen to how the senator responded to a next round of stimulus and specifically direct stimulus checks. Take a listen.
Senator, do you anticipate the next rescue package having any individual funding going to people like the previous $1,200 and to families? Will there be something like that?
Could well. I think the people who've been hit the hardest are people who make about $40,000 a year or less. Many of them work in the hospitality industry. The hospitality industry, as all of you know, just got rim-racked. Hotels, restaurants. And so that could well be a part of it.
There you go. Man of many words. So will do, he said, or what did he say? Do, could well, when asked about direct stimulus payments. Could well, he said. So we might see, now we don't know, he mentioned $40,000 a year and less for workers. So let's parse out a little bit what he said. And he also, in another stop, talked a little bit more about things that he's interested in. He wants to see 5-year liability shield for businesses. This has been a big piece for him, that he wants a 5-year lawsuit shield for businesses as a part of the next coronavirus bill.
If there's a new rescue package, and I'm pretty sure there will be, I'll be unveiling another one. And if you're looking for the focus, one of them is something you mentioned, liability protection. This is not just for businesses. This is for hospitals, for doctors, for nurses, for colleges, for universities, for K through 12. We can't get back to normal if we end up having an epidemic of lawsuits on the heels of the pandemic.
I think this is important. I don't know how much bipartisan support there will be for it. I do know that Nancy Pelosi has said that there will be some trading going on, some horse trading as they call it in Washington. So trading back and forth, this idea of liability protection, and the other side, she might get state and local government money, which we need right now desperately. Both Republican states and Democratic states need money. And so I think that that's some back and forth trading that might happen for this liability protection. He also wants state and local funding, which he's been talking about that. He said this will be particularly essential for states hit hard by COVID-19. He also wants people to wear a mask. He said the best thing you can do right now to protect yourself and your friends is to wear a mask, which is, I have to say, a bit of a surprise. And it's a bit of a slap at President Trump. He actually took quite a little swipe at President Trump yesterday. I was surprised by this when he was speaking. We'll get to that in a second, but he also said this would be the final stimulus. He said this would be the last stimulus. I think we need one more injection of this moving forward, one more go around. I think it's too early to say that. I mean, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. How can you just blindly say that? But I think there's not much of an appetite for us to spend much more about that. So again, direct stimulus payments, liability protection. The president, of course, wants payroll tax cuts. Democrats want state and local government money. And so if there's going to be direct payments, I think it's lining up that way because President Trump wants it. And I think it's very important for his reelection. But Mitch McConnell did take a little bit of a swipe at President Trump yesterday on masks. Listen to what he had to say. I want to play this question that he was asked and just hear his response. He's basically making fun of the fact that he doesn't have as big of a platform nationally as President Trump does, and that, you know, he doesn't understand why it's become a political football, that we should absolutely be wearing masks. So this was a little swipe at the president.
Senator, you've been very adamant about the use of masks to protect everyone. It seems on a national level it has become a political issue. What would you like to see happen for more people to get the message to use those masks?
Well, I think those of us who are in public life need to set a good example. The Senate went back in session the 1st of May, and you may have seen us with these on.
Those of us in public life need to set a good example. Okay, go on.
We've practiced social distancing. We've worn masks. We've been in session almost continuously since the 1st of May, and I have, I don't have as big an audience as some do, but for
As some do, who is he talking about?
people who care what I think, I've been consistently saying this is important, and I think we all need to echo that. Somehow this notion developed that it wasn't necessary or that it was not fashionable or something.
How did that happen? How did that happen? How did this notion that we shouldn't wear these things, how did that happen?
That's really nonsense. And that's about the only thing each of us as individuals can do during this period until we get a vaccine.
Okay. It doesn't take much to read between the lines. There was like 3 different swipes in there. We as a Senate did it. I don't know when this became unfashionable. I don't know how that happened. I don't have as big an audience as some. We in public life should be doing this. If we have a position of public power, we should be showing and leading by example. It's fun to watch these politicians, isn't it? And thanks for, 7 months later that we're hearing from Republicans on the Senate side saying, let's do this. You guys were part of this. I love the sanctimoniousness now of these guys. They weren't calling for it. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell could have said, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, you got to be wearing a mask. We're calling upon, we need to set an example. There was none of that discussion. Now suddenly they're talking about it 7 months later. And then he did this at every campaign stop yesterday, by the way. Listen, because he is running for re-election.
Single most important thing. At some points along the way, people have been somewhat confused about this. It ain't confusing. The single most important thing that each of us can do as individuals to protect not only ourselves, but our friends and colleagues is to wear a mask.
He said that like 4 times yesterday at 4 different stops. Thank you so much for subscribing and being a part of our channel. I really appreciate it. If you're new here, please let me know in the chat below if you're new here, but subscribe. Also, all you have to do is just hit that like button so I know that you're a fan of the show, and that helps the YouTube algorithm out a lot as well. So smash that like button if I brought you any value at all. Thank you so much, everyone.